Some of you say, I'm fine. You say it so automatically that, let's be real, your nervous system has gotten to the place where it believes that's actually what your real name is. I know it's true. I feel it myself sometimes too. Somebody comes up to you, they say, hey, how you doing? And you automatically just say, I'm fine. Or you say, I'm good. You know, the truth of the matter is that deep down inside of your soul, you feel face down on the ground, a total mess, dying in a parking lot, emotionally. And yet, you can't share it with any of the rest of the world because that's not what we're supposed to do, right? Let me tell you a story. Maybe I've told this to some of you before. The rest of you, this may be a little shocking. I apologize. It's not graphic or anything like that. It's just a really awful thing that happened to me. In late 2016, headed into 2017, we were in the process of moving from the Portland area down to Southern California, and I was very sick. We won't get into all the gists of it, but needless to say, I broke down to the point where I could hardly walk into the bathroom at the particular truck stop or whatever it was that we had stopped at to get gas. And as I was coming out, I literally collapsed. Like, you've seen people trip and fall. It wasn't like that. You remember in The Wizard of Oz where, the witch is like, I'm melting you, wicked, wicked girl. That's how it felt. I was just slowly, my knees were giving out, and I was slowly going down. I've had it happen to me a couple of times, and one extreme time since then. But, this was by far the most embarrassing of all situations because I was at most 5 or 10 steps out of the bathroom. And it was one of those where, you walk in one main big door and you go to the right if you're a girl and left if you're a guy or whichever. And yeah, there I was, collapsed on the ground, couldn't get up, couldn't move. Of course, obviously, I'm creating quite a scene and quite a spectacle of myself, not because I wanted to, not because it was fun or anything that I was enjoying, but because I literally just was gone, couldn't move. And so, of course, they had no choice but to call the ambulance, right? And the ambulance came. And, we could get into the fact that these two small guys, and that was when I was at my very largest. I weighed about 460 pounds there. I hate to even admit it to you because it's embarrassing to say, but, these two little guys that probably didn't weigh, either one of them even make it up to like 165, and they were trying to just deadlift me, and they couldn't do it. Fire department had to come, and it took multiple members of the fire department to actually pick me up, put me on a gurney, and I had to go to the hospital, to the emergency room. Yes, as you can imagine, and even really telling it to you right now, it still is extremely embarrassing. But honestly, even in that moment, had somebody asked me before I collapsed, with as bad as I was, with as sick as I was, with the fact that I ended up in the hospital, had somebody asked me, how are you doing? What would a person answer? What do we always answer? I'm fine. I'm good. And we live that way. We've gotten to the place where we learn to accept, not because we're fake, not because we don't want to show up as real, but because we feel like nobody really cares. If we were to say, here's all the stuff going on with me and I'm not sure I can walk back to my car, that's embarrassing. That's such a self deprecating, demeaning kind of a feeling. And so we just, we get by, we minimize, we downplay. And more than anything, that's one of the biggest things that leads to us feeling invisible. Hopefully, you've never had an incident quite that public, but I know that you've had incidences in private where you've completely collapsed. And I know that even more so, if not physically, in your spirit, in your soul, you've laid shattered, still moving through the world, probably really massively impacting lives with all that you do. But nobody knows because we're not sharing our real truth. So, my question for you today is, what's your automatic response? What's your I'm fine phrase that you use, even, especially even, when you're really not fine? And maybe my acronym for fine is frozen, indifferent, numb, escaping. Yes, Angela, that's absolutely true. And we use that. And I'd love to hear from you. What do you use? And is there something that you've been afraid to express that maybe together we can go through today and we can help bring a little piece of the real you out to the world? I appreciate you. I'm so glad to have spent a little bit of time here with you today. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And then until we're together again tomorrow, I hope you have a great week.